build my gallows and build them high. Makes a long time climbing before I die. Hello everybody, welcome to Longbangers. I'm Matty. This is episode 164. You might hear my voice a wee bit hoarse after Martin Boyle broke hearts at the end of the game today. He also seems to have broken my fucking voice, but there you go. Joined tonight by John and Colin. After last week, because it got called out this, I think he went to start. Colin, how are you doing?
I'm alright. Aye. Not bad. Not bad day.
Not bad day. John, what about you?
Aye, good, thanks. It's been a good weekend. I'd ask you how you are, but I didn't want to waste your voice, so just crack on.
Probably the less speaking I do, the better, which is par for the course for this podcast. So we slight change in format tonight. We're going to start off with listener questions or voice of the people, as we branded it last week. So Colin, we'll hand over to you in just a wee second. We'll cover most of the stuff, I would think, in doing so. And then anything that's no covered in there, we'll pick up and talk about the game today. We've got our Longbangers quiz, second round, and we'll have a wee preview of the Livingston game next week as well, very briefly towards the end of it. John, just before we kick off, you were in the new Albion bar today. What was how would you describe that experience to the listeners?
It was excellent. It probably surpassed my expectations because it's not just the Albion bar where I was. You've got like the Tornadoes and you've got the other lounges and suites and what have you. But Pioneers, there's the Emerald Club. I saw there was something called the Chairman's Club as well. I don't know how much I need to get pay to get into each of them, but it's more than I could afford. But they've also done up the main stand reception, so that's had a paint job. There's a mural up. They've got some scanning machines just to verify you when you're going in, and then they've got, or at least today, they had plenty of people directing you to where you needed to go or where you should have been. It was a really good experience. It was really good to be in Easter Road before the game. You know, I think the way that Hibs had pitched it was to try and generate a bit of atmosphere before the game for folk in and around the ground, and I think they got it right. I think they've done really, really well.
Imagine the grief they would be getting right now, having spent all that money on making everything better for the, what's it called, the fan experience of the day.
The match day experience.
If we hadn't won. If we had got beat. That's what I was trying to say. Aye. Fucking hell. Got away with it,
Well done, Martin Boyle. Okay, right. Well, first, let's kick off then, Colin. Voice of the people, you take over the reins here. What have we got?
Mm-hmm. Right. There's loads. So apologies if I didn't get round to everybody, right? But I'll try. We've got topics: performance, the referee, the opposition, and miscellaneous.
Well, we
start with performance. I was going to suggest.
Aye, why not then? I was going to say the referee, but performance.
Do you want to start with the ref? Do you want to start with the ref if you want? I was trying to start on the positive, but.
Can his voice take it? We might be here a while.
Again, it's one of these ones. See, that was the thing that annoyed me the most about the day. It wasn't really because it was them fucking falling down every 2 minutes and breaking the game up. And I mean, boy got fucking injured by chips. That's how bad it was.
There's a lighter there as well.
Was there?
Aye.
Well, these chips could have went on fire.
The photo
somebody think of the children.
Aye.
I think no condoning it. All the rest of it, right?
We can't, because it actually was wasting our fucking time. We were getting beat at the time and stopped the game, and we're moaning about break up the play, and it fucking broke the play up.
I'll grow up. Right. Didn't chuck things at players. Right. I bet the referee. Go give us the points anyway. I'm starting rambling about it already. That's
I'm going with the referee then. I'm going with the ref then. Get on with right. So Keith Armstrong, Part Fries, Image, Kaiser Soze, Big Dell, Neil Henderson, Ross Grieve, Deck Sands. The ref must have been fizzing. Halkett handball in the second half. St Mirren was reduced to 10 for similar yesterday. How did Shankland escape yellow and red cards? It was at least a yellow for the tackle with studs in the first and the judo leg hold or kick on Rocky's head in the second. Beaton has an agenda. Discuss. Maroon shirts hit the ground, foul. Green shirt hits the ground, not so much. Is anybody mentioning the hand-arm control? That's the only control Jambo's had of the game. Ref in the pocket aside. Is he cheat or just shit? And I wanted Lee Johnson to bring out 5k in cash and just say, this is for the SFA fine. them break into a tirade into that refereeing performance. It may sound like sour grapes when so many of us, but when so many of us in neutral see it, who can call them out? So, what do you think of the ref?
John, do you want to go first?
I suppose what I would say about Beaton today was I made a wee joke to John, who was sat next to me. You might know him for Twitter as Guinness 2022. And I said that Hibs would end up getting booked for Hearts' persistent fouling, and within seconds, Porteous goes in for the challenge and came away with a booking after what I would describe as being rugby-style challenges on Hibs players. Before that, like there was players literally getting wiped out by Hearts players just bodying them, out, like just running through them. Like there wasn't a slide challenge. It wasn't try to get a foot in the way of the ball. It was just bulldozing the player out of the way. And Beaton never seemed to react to it. It was that way during the game where you got the ironic jeer or the ironic applause when he did finally give a foul, but it was like an inconsequential free kick for Hibs at that point. And he just never ever seemed to, before that, stop the game for any the Hearts challenges. And I'd love it. I've definitely mentioned this before, but I would love it if you had the referee was to come out after the game and just like pick apart a couple of those like the decisions that he made and saying this is why I didn't give this foul, this is why I didn't give that foul, just so we've got a better understanding of it. Because at least for the fans' perspective, at the moment anyway, I'm looking at it going, how the fuck have you not given that? Because I think there was one in the first half where he just like, so the rugby tackle that I'm thinking of is where I don't know which of the Hearts players it was, but there's two of them have almost got Yuan between them, and the Hearts player comes running from the left-hand side of the pitch, so from like the east-hand side of the pitch, and just cleans Yuan out, and Beaton's like, play on.
That was the one I was just going to say, John. Exactly that one. It was right in front of me. That's where I sit at the west side, and you just saw how kit it was. Came over and just cleaned them out. Yeah. And you went, "Oh, it was like American football or something, like a blocker." It didn't even. He wasn't looking at the ball. Nothing. Just cleaned them out. Didn't even get a foul. Nothing. No, never mind a card. And by the way, just having watched Sports Scene in the last half hour, the Shanklin tackle on Campbell just before the Porteous booking is a minimum yellow. A yellow and a half, whatever you want to call it. It's worse than Cabraya's tackle last week. It's worse than the St Johnstone boys' tackle last week, which were yellow and a halves, weren't they? Everybody agreed, apart from the
Chabraya.
Chabraya. Yeah. So aye. We just got to go with Chubrub. No, but I mean, you look at it, he's caught him, he studs up, he's on his ankle, and then he ended up going off. And don't know if it was that when it made him go off, but I'm sure it's a really bad tackle. And he only got away with it because it's still early in a derby. It can only be the only reason.
I didn't even think we got a foul for that, though, did we?
No, play on.
No. And then the one on Rocky, was that the second half of where he was on top of him and left the boot in. He gave that as a free kick to Hearts, and you're watching, how the fuck can you watch what's just happened then and go, that's a Hearts free kick? So the handball for their goal is debatable enough that I would give the referee the benefit of the doubt in it and say real time, and for the angle the referee's got, he's not going to be able to see that. And I didn't even think the linesman can see.
Would VAR sort that?
Yeah.
So that's a really good question because I've tried. I've watched that footage of the goal on Sky Sports. I managed to find something that was on YouTube that I think is on maybe a Middle Eastern channel based on the graphics that were on the video. But I'm guessing it's all for the same feed because I never managed to get a different angle of it. Is VAR going to offer more angles to referees? Because it was inconclusive for me the day, and the players never reacted.
BBC showed about 5 angles. Chabraya did, right? So there's 5 or 6 angles, and it's on the last one. You see him just it just drops in off his bicep, which I don't know if that's the rule or not, because there was that T-shirt rule in England last year.
Aye.
I don't know what the rule was. So it's bounced off his arm and in front of him, and he's on the line going like that. So he did claim it.
Shit! Sorry, I never saw that.
But I don't know what the rule is. I don't know what handball rule is because Halkett done the same later on. Well, not the same. He lay on the ground and the ball hit his hand and went out for a corner off. But he's on the ground and you go, well, is it unnatural to have your arm out if you're on the ground? I don't know. But then did they get an advantage out of it? Well, aye, because it went out for a corner. So I'm not sure what the rule is. Don't know.
I think if you're diving in, as well as defender to block it and it hits your arm, you're making yourself bigger and all the rest of it. And you look at the St Mirren player, yes, was it yesterday? It was the last week. Yesterday, where they got.
I've not seen it, but it's what somebody said it was yesterday.
Second yellow for very similar sort of.
You talking about Gallagher? Boy, they used to play for Motherwell that like basically dived for the ball.
Aye, but that's what Halkett did. What's Halkett then if he's no diving for the ball? He's like diving in.
He's just phoned in. He's not diving in. I've not seen the Gallagher one. So he's not even on the move. It's almost like he's just fell down.
Your arm's not meant to be on the ground, is it?
No, but if you fall down, then where's it going to be? I don't. So I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the rule is, and I'm not sure what the. Like, if it was against us, I always think, if it was against us, what would you say? You know, I would always say, it's going to fix fucking hand.
If it was against us, you'd be moaning with the referee getting the fucking penalty, wouldn't you?
Yeah, that's what we think. However, I must say on the referee thing, we go in with a mindset of he's going to be shite today, and then we look for evidence of him being shite.
Aye, that's
definitely a thing in that. However, he's given us examples that we can talk about.
Aye, with specifics. And I think the thing for me, right, and this is where it gets annoying, is if you're a Hibs player, and you can see, because we lost the heat for a wee while in that game and stopped playing the game and tried to play the referee. And it was like, Kim, you're complaining about all the decisions, but not to the extent. Hearts were really bad for being in the referees here today. Hibs maybe could have done it a bit more. But you can see we were trying to go down for fouls that Hearts were getting similar ones, and it wasn't happening, and we were getting frustrated, and it totally knocked us. It's like it got in our heads for a wee bit, and it must be hard for a player to know, I'm not going to get a free kick for something, but if I go in and I foul and like try to make a challenge there, like Newell had one second half in injury time just before Henderson gets booked. The boy backs into him. All Newell does is stand his ground. The boy crumples, and Cliff Pike speak like a cheap suit. And the referee gives the free kick, and right away that's like a bit of pressure off Hearts, but he was doing it time and time and time again. And we had one second half where, if you look at what Henderson got booked for, he's gone in a wee bit late on the boys, he's played the ball. We're clearing the ball for our box, and the boy goes, I can't remember if it was Chabraya or Porteous that got fouled, but they better late on him. I said, he cleared the ball, wipes him out, should be a free kick. We didn't even get a foul. They just they play on, and Hearts had another attack for it on the back yet. It was just so inconsistent. Or, in fact, it wasn't inconsistent. It was consistent and you can then fucking everything. I think if it's cheating or if it's incompetence. I mean, Paul McGinn called him inept, and I thought that was quite a good description. I
don't think Paul McGinn changed his opinion.
No, but he should be taking that fucking vendetta away to Motherwell then. He's not here anymore.
Again, it's not our fault anymore. We've washed our hands of that problem. Move on, but it was terrible. It was terrible.
Folk are frustrated before he's even made the decision about being the referee, right? And we kind of need to not go in with that mindset. Like, I hope the players don't go in with that mindset. You know what I mean? Because you're immediately on the negative, the defensive. What I was thinking, maybe do the opposition and cover that off, and then before we go into the good stuff, cover all the shite first.
Go on then.
So Cristiano McFackintosh Jr., a good name, Gav Dick, Aldo Shaw, Brunswick Bill, and Scott McIntosh, who's a Hearts fan. Hearts play acting and time wasting from 60 minutes. And our new number 77 looks a player. Hearts shite in it after the Boyle sub. What does Cochrane have a chip on his shoulder about? Are Hearts players coached to fall down? And opposition point of view. So Yuan looks a handful. Best suited to run into channels and getting balls shelled to him when he's back to goal. Henderson and Melkerson are only suited to central roles. So signing Boyle and getting Mitchell back should help the wide areas. Team looked best, set up to hit teams on the break. So grabbing the first goal will be essential this season. Another centre half will be required as Porteous looks less assured playing on the left. I don't think I disagree with very much with what he said.
No, I agree. So Scott runs Hour or So Lets It Run. I think it's a podcast, YouTube channel. Tons of footage and stuff on there. And I saw that tweet come in, and I'm bad with, and I think if Scott will be listening to this, but I'm bad for being like, I don't want to hear really for Hearts fans, because you get that whole, it'll be patronising, it'll be getting this and that, re-team and stuff. But I think Scott's pretty fair in his assessment there. I wouldn't really disagree with anything he said there. John, from some of the other points, what would you pick out?
I would pick out that I've got a short memory and I might need Colin to repeat a couple of them.
Talking about play acting and time wasting.
So the play acting and time wasting, I think we talked about a wee bit after the St Johnstone game, and I don't know whether it's coached into players, but we discussed that there's definitely something to be gained from it. And I think if you get, I don't even know if it's a case of getting compliant referees, because I think referees allow the game to go so much, and then they're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. Like, they need to go and check them in case there is actually something serious wrong, which there never is.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, I think we said last week, like, it's a difficult situation because footballers are always trying to eke out like the smallest possible advantage, and whether it's in a derby, whether it's St Johnstone, like I'm sure that any fixture, the smaller team or the team that's losing, or even the smaller of the two teams, the team that's winning will probably be trying to waste as much time as possible, because that's like they're trying to reduce the amount of time that the ball's in play, to try and stop the opposition from scoring a goal.
Something needs done about it. We spoke about it last week. Something needs done about it. It's every team now. The thing is that the positive for me is that they will be hounding their manager out soon, because once they start getting beat a couple of times in Europe, or they come back on a Sunday and they're playing a shitty game on a Sunday afternoon, they drop points and that, they'll be hounding him out. If they had won the day, they would have been buoyant. This will already set them on a negative because they think who they are. And they're so negative. Rather than going and try and winning that game comfortably, they decided to leave two balls in the park, no kick it out when it's in front of them, lie down at every opportunity, like all of that stuff, boys going taking it. Oh, I never heard you telling me I was a sub and all that. You know what I mean? It's in the fucking tannoy. All of that. It's like, if you're winning, you get away with that, but you're not going to get away with that. And especially when you go and lose an equaliser with the last kick of the ball, and when you start losing other games, it's not going to last. So he'll be on his way.
You mentioned, Colin, last week that you see those sort of antics at Champions League level as well, even at the sort of upper reaches, European football and that. Do you think that FIFA will start addressing it because people might get so pissed off? Because we go to watch a game of football, we didn't go to watch like a bunch of people rolling about. So do you think that there's any possibility that the rules will change for that perspective?
I don't know what you do. I mean, as I said, I've said it already, and I'll keep saying it. But you do the stop clock thing. However, that won't stop them slowing it down, because they'll still slow it down. Yep. But the other thing you can do is play around them. Physio can just come on. If somebody's been injured, physio's on, game carries on. Just play around.
I think that's maybe one of the options, because it's. It's frustrating as anything, and it's. We saw it at Hampden. Do you know, like Hibs were the better of the two teams. At Hampden, Hearts had got the 2-goal lead. We scored straight away, and after that, Hearts just killed the game and run the clock down as much as possible. So you knew what was coming when they went in front. And I'm not saying Hearts didn't try to attack after, because Hearts, especially like say after the second half, Hearts could have scored maybe another 2 or 3 goals with the chances that they had at that point. But after that, once we started getting a foothold in it, and I think Johnson made a bit of tactical change. After that, it was just non-stop, break up play. But what made it sweet, though, is if they hadn't done that, if they just got on with the game, 2 minutes injury time, we didn't score.
Yeah. The thing is, there was a minimum fee anyway, right? Because it was 3 minutes for Campbell getting hacked when we got everybody on. So there was a minimum fee for that. Because it was 59 on the clock to 62 when it started again.
Was it?
But so we got 2 minutes for everything else, all the subs and.
That's fucking nonsense, isn't it?
Aye, because it was 3:59 right through to 62. That's because it was ages, all that stuff. But it's just, I don't know, like it's a part of the game now. It's fucking terrible. I don't want to pay my money to go and watch that shit every week. The benefit of the good thing in the last 2 weeks is we've scored in injury time effectively. I think both weeks against teams that are playing to almost have as much injury time as they possibly can. So fuck them.
Aye. And it meant they had no. And this is what I was supposed to do. The referees can do is when that happens and you score late on, they just go, we'll end the game there. Which what Beaton did. I think when Boyle scored, there's maybe 20 seconds left.
Aye.
But we didn't get 20 seconds after kick off. They kicked off. It was Game over.
Although me being the optimist, I'm thinking, just get another one up there. Let's go and get another one.
Go and get another one. Aye, it's shite. It's shite to watch.
30 seconds before the goal, you're not fucking scoring today, I'd said.
No.
And then
that happens.
10 seconds after the goal, I'm going, let's get another one.
Anyway.
Anyway, on the opposition point, no, it's not really a talking point here, but what do you think of Nielsen's post-match?
So I didn't hear too much. I saw like a headline where he said that he'd been hearing about how we were going to dominate them and do this and that. And the next thing to them,
Hibs have been talking about they're going to do this, they're going to do that this season. He didn't expand on what this or that was because I can't remember us ever fucking claiming anything other than negativity this season. However, apparently,
see, if you're a journalist, you're surely going to say, like, well, I work in the media, so what they've been saying? Who said it?
So
what do you mean?
The interview I seen, it was with Luke, right, and Luke Shanley, and I'm sitting going, he must just know what to ask because he'll get called he'll just get called out for being happy. He must be standing there going, fuck off, you prick. Like, because it's like, Hibs have been saying this, and they let him just say it. And I'm thinking, he's obviously not going to be too biased by going, like, what? Because that's what I was going, like, what? What's this? What's that? Also, the 6 or 7 chances they had, I'm going, go and tell us what they were. Because I've just watched Sports Scene, and if you watch Sports Scene, we've had as many chances, we've had more chances. Certainly early on in the first as well, which didn't feel like that. I've got to say at the game, like at the end of the game, I wouldn't have come out and said I thought it was an even game.
Yeah,
really. But I didn't think there was one team dominating, and I certainly don't think. I think he also said he dominated it, and the stats will back that up. Stats didn't back that up.
No,
right? 6 or 7 chances. Stats didn't back that up, and the highlights didn't back that up. But Miami doesn't back up. And Hibs got to do this and got to do that. I don't know what this and that is, and I can't think of what we've promised, apart from fucking folk talking about relegation seasons and that. The day, somebody behind me talking about relegation.
I thought it was like a baffling statement. I was like, what are you talking about there? Like, if you get examples, because I tend to pay attention to what noise is coming out of Hibs. Like, obviously we do for the podcast, you try to kind of keep on top of things, and I can't remember or recall seeing anything at Hibs, the management or the players saying we're going to turn them over or any of that shit. I think we might win by a couple of goals, but fuck, I'm no Hibs. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm a fucking idiot.
Yeah. If Scott's listening, Scott can maybe tell us what this and what that is. Or if he could just tell us if he thinks I'm right and that Nielsen's just deflecting like fuck because he's blew it again.
I think the only this and that Hibs have promised this season is an improved matchday experience.
Somebody said on one of the groups that Nielsen's no won at Easter Road before as a player or a manager. I don't care if that's right or no, but
really?
He
I'd
must
be
have.
surprised.
Did he not win last season?
I think if he was in no Easter Road, no, was no 2-0 at Easter Road.
2-0. Well, I mean, he wasn't there for the pre-lockdown. Yeah, it wasn't him then. He was at Dundee United then. Maybe not.
Anyway, fuck him.
Because it was it doesn't really matter. Was he a manager when the boys smashed the tape on for halfway in the championship?
Aye, it was.
That was a draw though, as we all know.
Aye, when they brought out a beer for it.
Aye, to celebrate. Right, there's quite a lot on the Hibs performance, or just Hibs in general here, right? Funny enough for a Hibs podcast. So, Guinness 2022, Stuart McGregor, Charlie Mulgrew thinks he made that up, Ryan Lyle, Chas Sutherland, Tony Swanson, Dale Maitland, Jeff Ashton, Mel Clements, Ross Grieve. Marshall showed for the second week in a row the importance of great goalkeeping. Kept us in it, gave us a platform for the grandstand finish. Yuan looks a real deal. I think Kenna and Chabraya too. The rest will thrive. With confidence, this has the makings of a right good team. Would like to see Bojan get a chance over Doidge. Porto had a few slack passes. Rocky is growing as a player. More resilient going to the end. Not sour grapes, but that ref display was shocking. We've covered that. We need to be more streetwise like them. No cheating. Streetwise. Once they gel, this will be a decent team. Second half, we started slow, panicking a bit, but settled down. Boyle is back, baby. I don't know if that's how you're meant to say that when somebody says it like that, but that's what Boyle is back, baby, right?
I think try to make it sound a bit more erotic if you can. That'd be my
I think my penis just fell off there, like with the relaxing.
But they didn't do the thing with it. It was just baby, the word baby. It wasn't like kind of sometimes write it with loads of A's and B's and Y's in it. It wasn't like that.
yeah.
So I just said it like the word.
Baby.
So Boyle peepered over the cracks. We were woeful in the final third. Hope improved wrong, but Milkerson's not good enough, and Doyd should be nowhere near a Hibs jersey. At one point, we were one corner versus their 8. That's quite telling, but I don't give a fuck because Boyle scored the equaliser. Fuck the Hearts and up the cabbage, which I think is a sentiment we can all get on board with. Watched the game back. First half, we were a better team all over the park. Our chances all came from playing back inside instead of playing for corners out wide. I'm not sure what that means. We only scored as I did something I never do and left early. That roar was something else from Lockie Road, though. A bad one, he leave early. He's busy at Lake District, apparently. Purchase's passing was sloppy. Are we doing him a disservice playing him at left or back too? And is it affecting his game? Probably come back to that one. Have we finally replaced what we lost in Bartley with Kenna? Got stuck in, doesn't shy away from a challenge. And finally, Rocky makes some silly mistakes, but how good can he become? He's got all the attributes. His celebration when we scored was unreal.
Well, talk to Rocky and Purchase out of that if we pick them up, because that through the game it definitely was like a topic of conversation between me and Josh. So Josh was kind of not making excuses for Purchase, if we knew what to put it like that, but he was sort of giving the mitigation that he's out of position. He needs to be playing at the right side because the passes that he was giving away were as a result of him taking the ball in and then having to kind of dig it out to get on his right and then playing a bad pass. But then for me, I made it worse. It was like, see if he was playing the right side in centre half and Hanlon's on the left side of him, and Chabraya plays the ball into Purchase instead of Hanlon, just he misses him out. Purchase does that same touch. He could be in the same position, and then if he plays a bad pass, because there was about at least 3, I think, that were terrible passes that played us straight into trouble. But he just, for me, Purchase didn't look at it today at all.
No. He's. I think he gets I've said it before, and I think he gets a free ride for a lot of people. He gets a lot of excuses made for him. If his name was Rocky, and if he wasn't through the Hibs youth, he'd be getting the same abuse Rocky tends to get. Or the
if he wasn't Hibs as fuck.
Yeah, do he gets away with murder? Like he doesn't get called a bomb scare or anything like that. But like any time the ball, what was it, 3-4 passes? He just gets straight to him today. It's like we almost need to stop all this shite about him being this Beckenbauer style footballer. He's a good defender. He can defend. He's got a good head on him, like as in to head the ball, not fucking not a good head mentally really. As shown by that tackle today, because he was fucking stupid. That was a yellow card, despite the other ones not being. That doesn't mean that one wasn't. He just gives the ball away, just regularly, frequently, every week, and we continually make excuses for him.
I think on that, right, probably, so you're right about him coming through the youth. I think there's definitely an element of that. But I also think with Purchase and his defence is that he has had a number of really good performances as well. So you know what he's capable of. And I think when you've seen that, you're probably a bit more forgiving a game like today. But he's having, in my opinion, having more and more games like today, and fewer of the games where he really, really shines, and that's a problem for him.
You're right. It might be that it is because I know he's got potential, and that's maybe what frustrates me more. Whereas others give him an excuse for it. Whereas I think, well, you should do that every week when you have that good game. You shouldn't have big games like that 2 weeks in a row, 3 weeks in a row, or it should be infrequent. You have an off day. Because we know you can play well, that shouldn't give you the excuse for it. It should make you want. It makes us want to do it all the time.
Do you think there's any likelihood now that we saw Hanlon on the bench today that once Hanlon gets back to full fitness, do you think there might be an argument for dropping Purchase for a couple of games and getting Hanlon back in it left centre back?
Uproar. Absolute uproar. That's what I mean. But it's just it would cause the manager more grief than anything else. The manager would. Like we talk about nobody being bigger than the club and all that, but it's almost at the stage. I think if he'd done that, the manager would be the one that would be for the high jump more than anything else.
But it's an interesting dilemma, isn't it? Because there's a big clamour for a new left-sided centre back. I think that's, and we'll talk about transfer activity and what we still want to see when we record extra time later on tonight. But that's probably an area that we need to strengthen because we only have Hanlon. It's a left-sided centre half. But as soon as Hanlon comes back, assuming he would go straight into the team because he's that left-sided player, one of those two Rocky approaches has to get dropped. And then if you're Lee Johnson, you're looking at, well, you have to look at form. You have to be fair and say who's playing the best at the two of them. And I don't think there's that much between them. I mean, Rocky hasn't been outstanding. I mean, he had his moments today as well, Kim, where he was miskicking the ball or getting mistiming headers or whatever. But no more so than Porteous. I think they were much of a muchness in how they played today. It's a difficult one. And you couldn't even say that we'll play Porteous because he's got the resale value, because I don't think he's older, I think, than so maybe you play Porteous this season, sell him, and then Rocky comes in and
he's in the last year's contract. He's not got any resale value, and if we play him all season, you get none for him.
You get none.
See if you guys are both Lee Johnson and Paul Hanlon comes back on the left hand side of defence. Who are you picking to partner Hanlon? Are you picking Bushiri or Porteous?
I'd pick Porteous, and then let's see what happens. And then if he can take the excuses away, or he can just show that it doesn't matter if he's on the left or the right, he's passing the ball to the opposition. More than Macy ever done.
I'd probably go along with that. I think Porteous, from what I've seen, Porteous is a better defender, or capable of being better than Rocky's shown so far. But I didn't want to sound that like harsh on Rocky. I've not got a problem with Rocky. Like if he was to play, I wouldn't bat an eyelid. I think he's been this season since he come back, he's been absolutely fine.
I'm going to buck the trend a wee bit and say that I would play Bushiri before Porteous on the right hand side at the moment, just because of what you were saying before, Matty, about the level of performances recently and some of the mistakes that Colin described. I see a player in Bushiri who has taken a lot of bumps last year, a lot of stick, and he's come out this year and there's been a marked improvement in his performances. And you see in Porteous, and it might just be because there's been some off the field problems, there's contract stuff maybe going on, but I see a sort of middling, depleted performance out of him.
You wonder if it's maybe because he's playing a little bit out of position, playing left centre half, but also taking on a bit more responsibility to try and get Rocky through. Knowing where Rocky's deficiencies are, maybe Porteous is just taking on a wee bit more.
I'm still dubious of how big a difference it is to play on the left. I can't remember these chats like even 5 years ago. And I get the distribution thing: left foot, right foot, right. If they can only play the ball with 1 foot, right. But it's not a thing you get in the midfield. Like we don't see Joe Neal's playing on the right hand side of the centre of midfield here.
Yeah.
Like we talk about the centre of midfield. Now he's got to adjust to cutting the outside on his right foot or inside on his left, and that I don't see what I'm saying. Positionally, like a ball's in the air for a centre half. So it must just be about the distribution, eh?
I suppose. Well, there's that, but there's also, I was thinking, an element of understanding where your other half's going to be, the other centre half of the pairing, and if you're used to being the right-sided one, you probably have that. Intuitively, you would know that if I go to this ball, Paul Hanlon's going to be tucking in behind me here, or he'll go cover, take that one. But if you're then that person, you're having to think more about it. It doesn't come as naturally because all the way through your development, you've played the right side, I would think.
While we're talking about Porteous and Bushiri, have any of you got any thoughts on the goal that we conceded today and what Porteous and Bushiri were doing, drifting away over to the right hand side?
Where were they? Because it's Kenner that Jack's forehead. Sorry, Shankland.
And I'm not sure where they were actually, because the boy, it was a wee no-look pass actually. It was a nice wee pass for McKay. Over Cadden, I think, was the closest to him. And then Kenner's behind Shankland. And were they two away over there? Because then it was Shabraya back on the goal line. So
like nearly cuts it out.
So the fullbacks are doing stuff. The defensive midfielders getting back. The centre halves were posted missing.
Aye.
By the way, talking to Cheatin, his booking was a fucking joke as well. Talking about Beaton, Cheatin plays the ball. I think you can see it back, it's right in front of us. And he plays the ball, fuck all wrong with the tackle, gets a foul against him. It wasn't even a free kick, foul against him and I book him.
Did they come in from behind or anything? No.
I thought it was one of those like coming for the side, coming from behind. But
I think it was by the side. I think it was just the night. I didn't see an issue with it at all.
I think that was one of those instances, sorry to cover old ground, but that was one of those instances where I don't think there's any danger that he's injured Boyce. I think it was Boyce that went down. But he stayed down, he got his treatment, there was fuck all wrong with him.
Aye, no.
Boyce not got to make cramp. Boyce went
maybe 80 minutes.
Because he was stretching in front of us 5 minutes before that, and then next time he got hit, he just went down and it was cramp.
There was a point about Boyle papering over the cracks in the performance. It's an interesting one, right? Because that last minute goal totally changes how we all feel about the game. Do you know what I mean? Like, you come away and everybody's buzzing coming to the ground 2 minutes before it. See when Rocky's headed the ball over, Boyle's just missed his chance. Rocky's headed over, folk leave in. Everybody's raging. Fucking shite up front. We're not going to score a goal. Like, you look at the messages on like through the game, getting on the group chat. This is pish. Totally. Yep. And it was the same feeling as against St Johnstone last week, and that we get to the final third. It's either the decision making or the execution is letting us down time and time again. We put in a couple of cracking crosses. Cadden first half puts one across the goal, just dying on a touch, and Cheatin in the same second half.
That was a lovely play for the set. Both of them, by the way. They never showed the second one on the TV, but Newell's pass to Cheatin and his ball across was lovely. Nobody near it. See the first one, in the first half, Cadden, it's a great ball for Cadden, and folk criticise him for putting balls in the areas where there's nobody there. That's a fucking great ball. And there's two of them jogging, not even chucking it, like just stick a leg out, like nothing. Is Melkerson at the front post and I think Henderson at the back post. One of them's got to score. I said to brother-in-law at the time, I says, we should be fucking cheering that, celebrating that and going, who scored that? Because it's one of them where you didn't care which one got the touch, because it's like everyone's just piling. But nobody piled in. It's like, what you saying?
That's a wee bit of frustration actually. So to talk about like Boyle papering over the cracks, I wouldn't say that there's any cracks yet. However, for about 49 minutes, 59 seconds, I thought we were pretty poor the second half. There was none until we managed to have that beautiful link-up play between Yuan and Boyle. But one of the things, I think one of the things that Lee Johnson talked about, he talked about football being like a numbers game, like create chances, you get bodies in the box, goal. Like you'll win games more often than not. But bar the Clyde game so far, I've not really seen it so much, and it's a wee bit concerning because I didn't see, so as much as Ewan had been a pest today, I don't think he was much of a nuisance. He had one shot, I think, that Gordon saved. He did a lot of running about. Reminded me a bit of Kenny Miller in terms of his work rate.
He should have probably scored as well. There was one at the back post that he kind of scooped up first half.
But I don't think he's a player that can play up. Sorry, I don't think he's a player that can play up front on his own unless he's got midfielders coming in to support him. So to back up Colin's point there about just like, fucking putting bodies in front, like getting bodies onto the ball to get it in the back of the net, just didn't do it today.
No. And that's what we needed, because when the balls weren't getting whipped across that, they were getting floated right into Craig Gordon's hands. Like the amount of times he came for a cross, it was just not even a challenge, just putting his hands up and catching it. It was really frustrating because up to that point we had some really good football, and then you'd get a chance to put the ball in and they would overplay it or end up going backwards, and it's just that kind of frustrating bit, but no attacking the ball. And you see when we do get the goal, if you watch Boyle's run, so Boyle takes the ball for Ewan's knockdown, drives forward, plays Ewan in, Ewan beats the player, and it's Boyle's run because he cuts it back. There's 3 Hearts defenders there, and Boyle wins the ball because he's sharp and he makes the
movement,
attacks it, with the movements there, and then we get the reward for it. And it's as simple as that. Again, it's not a simple thing. There's a lot of skill involved in that, But is that fucking...
All he's done, like, so with the exception of the finish, I didn't mean to take away from Martin Boyle because he's a fucking brilliant footballer. What he's done is he's passed the ball, he's ran, he's moved into space. Very, very simple things, but we've got like nine other outfield players there that you're screaming at to do exactly the same thing.
Yeah. Aye, so I think it did paper over the cracks because you come away for that game. That goal totally changed the mood. I mean, Easterwood was fucking bouncing after that.
Yeah, I would have been sitting saying here tonight, we need to stop. Like, the comments about, how do they always, they're spawny, they get all the luck and that. And like, it's no lucky if you do everything. Yeah. It can't be. And it's like, we need to change. We need to be better. We need to it's like, the other one was a header, by the way. Gordon saved, but he almost made a cunty. Like, he didn't fucking put it in the top corner.
Yeah.
Like, it was some save for it. Like,
right-hand save that went out to the left-hand side.
Aye, rather than an orthodox. But it was him trying to do his TV stuff, because I don't think it was as hard a save as he made it look. And he actually made it look worse by nearly throwing it in his top corner. But, it's... we need to change your mentality and attitude, although we've scored 2 goals in the last minute in the last 2 weeks, so our mentality is better for that point of view. However, I was sitting in that game as frustrated as almost just accepting, here we fucking go again.
So at 74 minutes, I was looking at the clock, and had I not been sat with John, there's every chance that I would have pulled a Tynecastle 2016 and just...
Have you not learned yet, John?
What's that?
Have you not learned yet?
It was just I don't know what the word is, but I just happened to look up at the clock and saw 74 minutes, and I thought, aye. And just because of the way the game was going, like, because I think I'd gone through probably every negative emotion of, like, anger and apathy and embarrassment, a wee bit of shame, and then I just pretty much slumped in my chair, and John and I were having a bit of a blether. And like I say, like, Hibs at the end, they got the chance and scored, and then, like you say, it just changed the whole perspective. And suddenly you're celebrating a 1-1 draw, but like, I'm not taking on board any of the fucking shite about how and what you should celebrate. I'm not taking that. I'm not taking for any Hearts fan
that's
what's permissible to celebrate.
Surely that's teenagers, though. That's just teenage laddies saying that.
Aye.
There's no actual. Everybody knows, like, what a last minute goal does when you're getting out of the position we were in as well, where Rangers are home next and Livingston away. Like, we could have been on a real downer. That's just gave the lift we needed at the right time. So thanks very much.
So I think
for allowing it. But you know what I mean? It's like it's only teenage laddies on the but we've got we named a pint of beer after our one. It's like all one-upmanship stuff, Bairn stuff. It's no.
So I think there's two things. Like, I think it's quite easy to focus on the negatives sometimes and always try and find the positives, but there's definitely 2 positives. And there's one that you mentioned before, Colin. It's about, like, continue to play right up until the final whistle, like, constantly try to search for that winning goal or that equalising goal or whatever. And the other one is that change in perspective on the game, because we had a bit of a laugh last week about how I'd seen a tweet about how it was a critical game for Hibs. And I remember after the Falkirk and Morton games, and people were talking about, it's a fucking relegation season. You said that you heard it, like, for folk behind you.
Yep.
And suddenly we've got 4 points for a possible 6, and actually we're not looking too bad. We get a result against Livingston. Suddenly that's 7 points out of 9. And then if you get 7 out of 12 at your first 4 fixtures, including Hearts and Rangers, it's not too bad.
Aye. Yeah. It's massive. I mean, the goal was huge and rightly celebrated. And I think, Joe, Hearts fans are notoriously quiet, right, until something was going their way. But the last 5 minutes, they thought they'd done enough. In fact, Andy Walker said that he's not a Hearts fan, but if you listen to the commentary, 4 minutes into injury time, he says, Hearts have done enough. Fact, definitive statement, Hearts have done enough. And Crocker goes, is it a case of Hibs haven't done enough? And he says, there's a bit of that as well. And then 10 seconds later, boom, fucking there you go, have it. But the Hearts fans were getting it big licks. And when you're at the receiving end of that, and then you score, of course you're going to fucking celebrate it. Of course you're going to go back because other teams shut up. And
Andy Walker was reprising his 2016 Scottish Cup final commentary about his the disgusting scenes, people on the pitch. Fuck off, Andy Walker.
It was 10 bairns, wasn't it? I mean, no condoning fucking running on the pitch, right? It's fucking stupid. It spoils it and all the rest of it. it was like 10 bairns. It wasn't like grown-ups that were running on, go paggering or nothing. It was just wee bairns at the famous five that went running on, from what I could see. So, can you talk about it's disgraceful that, you know, people on the pitch, you're going, fucking Captain Andy. Like, all right, Karen. Right, where were we?
We'd kind of talked about the performance, and that was where we got to. So I think somebody mentioned Marshall in there. So I think
Yes.
it was Guinness 2022 actually. Showed for the second week in a row the importance of great goalkeeping. So they kept us in it and gave us a platform for the finish. And he's right. I mean, that he didn't have much to do, but he made the double save.
Yeah, second half.
And he keeps the ball moving quickly when it's in his hands. So
good distribution.
His distribution is very good, to be fair.
It's better than Craig Gordon's as well. I mean,
Yeah.
like that's it. If he wasn't retired for the international team, he would be Scotland's number one. He is the best goalie in Scotland. That's it, but that's the thing. That's what we got him for. We want him to make saves like that.
Aye.
And derbies, specifically in derbies, to go. We would have won that game if it wasn't for that cunt. Like what we've been saying for every time Craig Gordon's played for them. So
yeah, and it showed the importance of having a good keeper, because I don't. Obviously, you can't say for definitively whether they would or not, but I don't think Macy's making those saves.
Not consistently. He did in the first derby at
that's true. That's true.
He's a better goalie. Like,
yeah,
I think that's the difference. So, like, you've got how would you describe Matt Macy without? I'm trying to think how to describe him without being unkind, but like a sort of run-of-the-mill goalkeeper. Like, he hadn't really done anything until he'd come to Hibs, other than being on the bench for Arsenal, had a wee bit of a loan spell, and then suddenly he's first choice Hibs keeper. Now we've gone from that goalkeeper to recently retired international goalkeeper. It's a massive leap in quality.
Yeah.
Aye, like it's a significant step up in it. And it is important. Like, we were going to cover that as an agenda point, but we're talking now. But
nobody panics in the crowd, which is really important, because we're shitebags, we're goalies, and we're constantly on edge because of what we had 20 years ago, 15 years ago. That spell we had, and he's settling everybody down. Even Marciano caused that panic. Like, everybody harks back to Marciano. Marciano was shite with the ball at his feet and all. Like, but this boy's come in and nobody's flapping at all. In the crowd, you didn't hear it. I had one boy the day saying Marshall was a fucking pensioner. Don't know what that came from. I don't know if that was just after he made the double save or no. But you know, it's like he's
younger than us.
It's the two best goalies in the league playing the day. Though that's the thing. They're Joe Hart's a decent keeper, but you know what I mean. They're quality keepers.
Yep.
Aye. And it's and both teams needed them to get the point today, because without Gordon's save, for you, you know, we take the lead, and I think that was at 1-0. Sorry, 0-0. It might be at 1-0, but anyway. And without Marshall saving, we probably would have lost the game early second half. So, right, what else got Colin?
That was the stuff. We've got stuff we're keeping for extra time. For Steve Condy, Straight Red, Callum Day, Dave G, William, Charlie Banks, and Ray Forsyth. We'll keep that for the extra time. That's about the what do we need stuff. Last topic is just the miscellaneous stuff. I should have said as well, I actually kept in the ref must have been fizzing one purely for Keith Armstrong, because he wrote must have.
As a homage to Short Bangers.
Yes.
See me after class.
Yeah, Keith. We'll let you know what often have mean. So, miscellaneous. Robert Glenn, Kaiser Soze, Martha Gardner, Mel Clements, and Warren Moffat. To prevent penalties given against us, should we 1, play in AFL tops, or 2, play in long sleeve tops with mostly green sleeves? AFL tops are the vests.
Oh yeah.
So they're saying one extreme or the other, like no sleeve or long sleeve.
How does that prevent penalties?
Because I think Mikey Stewart apparently was talking about.
Oh, I see.
But the t-shirt line is go full long sleeve.
Should you go none at all or full?
Nah, long sleeve.
All right. What does Cochrane have on his chips? £4 a pie. Discuss.
I did the pie. I think the juice machine wasn't working up in the West Upper, apparently. Josh was to get a juice, but £4 a pie feels to me that that's expensive.
Very. I don't know if that's true. I'm just taking the word, but
I'll be
It
more than
was-
half of that, by the way. Like £2 a pie is expensive. Can you go to Greg's or
used to live in
Stevens or
Detroit.
that? It's about £1 in it. So
yeah, it does seem expensive.
Is it? I wonder if you could have a look and get some sort of guarantee, some sort of indication that the stuff that you're getting was quality. Because I think if you're paying for a decent pie, you would pay good money or good money for it. But
It's just
the
a
stuff that you
steak
get
pie,
out of Greg's is largely greasy shite.
yeah,
Like you get what you pay for.
yeah.
At least in
fair.
that instance.
What would you expect for a £4 pie?
Hand delivered.
Aye.
Was it grain reared or grass fed?
I'd want one of these ones. Mine did in the Dandy, the Desperate Dan, would
Oh
have
yeah.
a cow pie with the fucking antlers at it. I don't want one of those cunts like that. That's why we want £4. Give me an antler pie. Or not an antler. What do the cows have? Horns. Okay.
Tusks.
Bulls. Aye, bulls.
Aye.
Bulls.
Ken, what? See, I'd ask that it wasn't. I would ask that it wasn't delivered or served in one of those wee foil dishes, because that foil dish hides a lot of deficiencies in the pie. My marker for any steak pie Easter Road is whether the arse falls out of it. And if the arse falls out of it, it's naked. It's not worth £4.
So what would you have it instead of a paper bag?
Aye,
It's like you're getting gigs.
some sort of alternative.
It is fucking expensive. I'd be looking for venison or something, or sirloin steak and a pie for that price.
Is there such a thing? It's like a medium rare fillet steak pie.
Should be.
I don't know.
Steak
That-
tartare pie.
£4
I'll
would be
let
fine
us
for that. Aye, Aldo,
Yeah.
get on it.
But they never had pie, they never had pizzas, they never had hot dogs, anything the day in the West. So it's like they forgot the game was on. On holiday, when Boyle scored, I jumped up and shouted, "Get fucking in!" Place was full of kids. Couldn't give a fuck though. Set piece takers, who should be on them? Newell, too close to Gordon. Hendo put in a few. Surely Boyle's back on penalties.
Henderson, when was it recently? He was whipping in really good corners and nobody was, no one was getting the heat, connecting with him.
Well, he put the corner
day
in
I
for the
thought
goal
there
last
was-
week, didn't he? Henderson's corner for the goal, St Johnson, but his deliveries weren't up to much today, I think. He was
And
shite
I
today
was-
with Henderson.
He was really quiet today.
Just never really got the ball when he did. I think he was crowded out.
Aye, didn't really show at all.
The Boyle used to take corners on the right hand side. Right hand
Mhm.
Yep. I think in
Did
his like the sort of the end of his previous spell, I think he was.
Scott Allen was looking well today, still without a club, which is surprising. We lacked a cutting edge through ball today. Has the ship sailed in this one, or do we get another fans' favourite comeback?
He's got it in it, yeah.
Mm.
As much as we love him, I don't think he's got Hibs under the club for him now.
And Methadone Mick was asking if you can ask Lee McCulloch if he can have his teeth back as well. Did you see that?
No.
Did you see him? Fucking hell! And it was like they're still massive. It's like he needs to go and see the dentist.
Has he got
he's
some
had it
turkey
done.
teeth and gone for the
He
too
had them
big?
done. He had them done last year. And no, I think when you get them done, mind Ryland got them done, and they're like big fucking. But they calmed, and Jimmy Carr, and they just calmed down again because his have never calmed down. It's just fucking big for his mouth. It's like he's got a gum shield in permanently.
Aye. Right, is it talk voice of the people done? Right, I don't think we've got that much more to cover for the game. We've covered, I think, all the sort of the main points. Martin Boyle signing again, so I suppose this is probably one to pick up on. The starting lineup came out. All the noise for Hibs yesterday being signed. We'll unveil him before the game. He's no eligible to play. Team news comes out just before kick off. Number 77 on the bench. Did they catch you two by surprise as well?
Aye, definitely. I think because all the chat that was kicking about in the last few days about who knew what, whether he was in Scotland, whether he was on his way back to Saudi Arabia. I think I saw something yesterday suggesting he was on a flight back in the morning. So I assumed that with like big screens and what have you, with him having been in talks in the last couple of days, that there might have been some sort of announcement on the big screen. I didn't expect they'd actually be there in person, let alone seen his name on the team sheet.
Aye, out for the warm-up and everything. Brilliant. And I think it's something Hearts have done as loads over the years. Like his players injured and that players
It's
get
just
injured and
a
they
pity.
make it.
How much better would it have been if we didn't? If the Saudis hadn't put the tweet out the way?
Aye, I know. Imagine that, like John, you'd sort of mentioned that in our group, eh? Imagine that was the first thing you're going, who the fuck's Boyle 77? And then you're like, Mark Boyle. Amazing.
That would have been amazing.
And
What a boost that would have been.
it was proper Royal Rover stuff for him the day, wasn't it? He's not played since June, comes off the bench, and
He
literally,
must be absolutely high as a kite the night.
aye, more or less, last kick at the boy, he kind of gets a point and shuts up a fucking entire away end for the Jambos. Right, we're almost out of time. Got enough time for the quiz, Colin and Johnny. So, if you've got a pen and paper, so we're not going to get you to shout out the answers this time because folk can play along at home with this one. The prizes.
Can they also shout bum or willy if they're at home?
I hope they do.
We're not shouting
So
at this time, are we?
I'm going to go. There's 10 questions. I'm going to go through them and then I'll get your answers after it. Right. So the reason you write them down is if you both got the same answer, you can
10
questions. Yep. So right, first question. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Who did Hibs sign Martin Boyle from this week? Right, so that was who did Hibs sign Martin Boyle from this week. Question 2. True or false? John Beaton is a cheat. Is it true or is it false? Number 3. Can you name something with less grace than Robbie Nielsen? Okay. 4. True or false? A thrown chip could be fatal. A thrown chip could be fatal. Number 5. Hibs chose a train spotting theme for the Derby build-up. Can you name 4 of the main characters from the film? He's got that. So 4 of the main characters for train spotting. Number 6. Lawrence Shanklin's forehead has its own gravitational pull. True or false? And number 7, and this closest answer wins here. How many days did Martin Boyle spend registered to the Saudi club? Number 8. Who scored the goal in Hibs' last Derby win? Or winning goal, I should say, in that one. Number 9. Who scored Hibs' goal in the last Hampden Derby? John, your face. And question 10. According to the song, what do Jambos find that they think is a treat? That's according to the song, what do Jambos find that they think is a treat? Right, you got your answers?
Mm-hmm.
So, number 1, who did Hibs sign Martin Boyle from this week? John, what have you got?
Al Faisali.
Colin, what have you got?
Same.
Got your work in there?
Billy shit. Show you're working.
Right, clear up. Right, that's a point each. True or false? John Beaton is a cheat. Colin?
It's false. Just incompetent.
John?
It's true. It's true.
It's false. We're just saying that for legal reasons. Hey. Can you name something with less grace than Robbie Nielsen? And actually, the best answer wins here. Or you get a point each if it's a good enough answer.
Craig Levine.
Craig Levine.
I just said no.
Point each.
They can't both be true.
Was that true false?
Can you name something that was Right, true or false?
Oh, right, okay. Colin couldn't back it. Okay, I get that. I see that. Okay.
Right, but you get a point anyway because you named something that was right. True or false? A thrown chip could be fatal. John,
It's false.
True.
The answer that is false. Who's getting killed by a chip, John?
That boy Cochrane.
Aye. He meant, didn't he? I found it fucking mental.
There was a
I
lighter.
to be fair, I didn't realise it was chips at the time. I assumed it was.
The photo with the
probably
chips is
buck
funny.
bag.
However, I'm sure there was coins. There was a lighter. There was other stuff.
I think somebody's been emptying their pockets and going, oh, fuck,
There was-
finally a chance to get rid of these chips I've been
There
carrying
was
around.
bricks and darts, and it was like going back to the 70s.
A fucking machete. Right, Hibs chose a train spotting theme for the Derby build-up. Can you name 4 of the main characters for the film?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not taking a yes for this one. Right. Point each. Fair enough. Right, you got names. We'll get a bonus point if you could get the 4 names.
Aye.
Then.
No, we didn't want to head one each. Aye.
I did.
Spud,
Right.
Renton.
Yep.
Begbie,
Yep.
Sick boy.
Aye. That'll do. 4. You could also add Tommy, Diane. Some of the other ones. Mikey Renton. Was it Mikey Renton? The
Yeah.
Irvin Mills played
Mikey
him?
Forrester.
Mikey Forrester. That's it. Russian sailors. Mikey Forrester. What are you boys fucking on? A great film. Transport. Fucking love it. Best soundtrack in a film as well.
Yeah.
Just same. Lawrence Shanklin's forehead has its own gravitational pull. True or false?
False.
True.
It was false.
Was it?
Aye. Because if we'd said true, that would have been bullying, and you know, we're no ones to mock people on this one. So it is false.
Oh my
How's they
god,
doing
it doesn't.
It doesn't. Right, so I'll take the closest answer here. How
The
many
genuine
days?
surprise in your voice.
How many days did Martin Boyle spend registered to the Saudi club? I had to call him the Saudi club because I'd already asked the question earlier, and if I said Al Faisal, you would have went, "Oh, I've got the answer now."
Clever.
How
I'm
many
going to
days?
say 240 days.
240.
Well, the obvious thing for me to do is go lower than that. I did go lower than that.
What answer have
The
you
obvious
got?
thing to go is 239. I went 180.
180. It was 197. So your honesty
Still-
paid dividends. Aye,
As little as that?
aye.
It's only 6
197.
months. So
It was
I basically
20
wrote down how many days in the month there are in February, March, April, and added them up.
21st of January to what was yesterday? 6th of August. Is it 6 yesterday? Aye.
Yep.
Right. 197 days. Who scored the goals in Hibs' last Derby win?
Martin Boyle.
That's who I've put in the Christmas game.
Point each. And who scored Hibs' goal in the Hampden Derby, the last Hampden Derby?
You talked
Chris
about this during the podcast, and I could not remember who it was that scored, and I still couldn't remember when it came to the quiz.
Chris Cadden.
Chris Cadden.
The Cadden.
Aye. I wouldn't remember that if he was talking about it in his kind of just renewed his contract. Apparently they renewed that ages ago and they just forgot to announce it. Interesting.
Because the video looked like they were doing it in Portugal or somewhere. You know, when they're in the whiteboard. And
Aye. And last question. According to the song, what do Jambos find that they think is a treat?
they dropped.
I did rat.
Drat. Aye. Right, so let me just total that up. So John, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points. And Colin, I think you're this week's winner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 points because of the bonus point then. So
How did I get 7? One.
I got 11 out of 10.
you got a bonus point for. I'll give you both a point for the train spot answer because you named 4 between you. So it was a point plus an extra one. So
I only got the Shanklin one wrong. That was the only one I got wrong.
2-0 in the series to Colin, John. So
Yeah.
you're going to get back on it next week.
I care this for a laugh, but my competitive nature is raging right now. Gone for laughs and getting questions wrong.
Right, very quickly before we wrap up then. So we will be talking about Martin Boyle's return in depth. Obviously, it's a significant sign-in for Hibs. So right after this, we're going to record Longbangers Extra Time. So if you're a subscriber, you'll find this in your podcast player. If you want to listen to it and you enjoy the content for Longbangers, go to https://longbangers.hubwave.net. You can sign up there. It's £3 a month. You get all the extra content. So this one's Extra Time. We're going to be talking about Martin Boyle's return, what that means for the club, and where else we think still needs filled in the team before the window closes this month. So just before we wrap up, Livingston on Saturday, very quickly. John, your prediction?
1-0 Hibs, stoppage time winner.
I've got down here, the answer was 2-0 Hibs.
Yeah.
Oh no, I've lost that one, I know.
1-0 Hibs. Right, Colin, what were you?
Colin's on 3-0.
Just told that, sir.
I think we'll take a huge crowd through based on Boyle signing. I think we would have it anyway with Boyle signing, but I think getting a boost in the last minute there as well. Take a big crowd through. Big crowds normally mean a bit of letdown, eh? But I think this time we might sneak away with a 2-1 win.
I'll go for a 0-0. I think Livy are up to much, and
they won a bit, didn't United, didn't they?
They did. But Dundee United got that Euro hangover. It's like
highly rated Dundee United.
Yep, they're on the back of a really good win, and you see it so many times. Even Old Firm can struggle after a European game.
That was my argument earlier in the year about Hearts. This season, and again, to not dwell on Hearts too much, they've no strengthened on last season. For what I can see, they don't look better than last season, and they've got to go and play Thursday, Sunday for the next couple of months. So we've got a good chance here to try and get some points.
So I think it'll be a 0-0. I think our lack of cutting edge, unless we find a way to get it to click, and Boyle might be an answer to that. You never know. We'll have Tavares back for next week as well, which will obviously bolster the attack. So I'll stick with 0-0. Right, thanks for listening. Been a cracking afternoon at Easter Road. They're not better than a last minute goal against them. I just win their fucking whole stand singing and you just go big finger up, get it Rangers. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. Well, they trailed me down when I broke free. I drank all the whiskey in Tennessee. I don't drink water, no.